Let's talk about ratios. Ratios is another word for fractions. We can write them with a colon, for instance, 1 to 2 would be a way to write a ratio, or we can write it as a fraction, such as 1 over 2. They mean exactly the same thing. And order is very important with ratios. So, for instance, if we have a box of fun, 4 puppies and 3 kittens, what is the ratio of puppies to kittens? It is very important that you have the 4 first and the 3 second. If you have a box of, if you want to know the ratio of kittens to puppies, well, then you would have to say is 3 to 4. So the order matters. And what about puppies to adorable pets? Well, all puppies and kittens are adorable, so that would be 4 to 7. Sometimes you will need to make sure you have the total. And I'll mention sometimes when we talk about ratios, I will have words for this. So puppies and kittens to puppies, I would use the words part to part. And for this last one, I would use the word part to whole, right? Because in that last one, I had to add the 4 and 7 together to get the total of 7. And so you might, if you hear those terms, this is a part to part ratio, or this is a part to whole ratio, that's what we're talking about. All right, hey, pause the video for a second and try this question number 2 on your own. All right, I hope you have an answer. I will warn you, it is a trappy question. So if you answered it super fast, take a second look. All right, now let's take a look. The quality engineer determines 5% of the toys are defective. What is the ratio of defective to non-defective? Be careful. The defective, if we have, let's say we have 100 toys, 5 of them would be defective and 95 would not. This is a part to part ratio, not a part to whole ratio. And then do you remember a ratio is like a fraction and I can reduce it exactly like a fraction. So both of these numbers are divisible by 5. I would get 1 to 19 and the answer is A. Okay, if you answered B, you were thinking part to whole when part to part was the actual question here. So if you said B, read that one more time so you don't fall for the trap again. All right, I have 2 more questions for you in this topic. Please read both of these questions, pause the video, and try them for yourself, and do not start the video again until you're ready. All right, hopefully you followed instructions. Pause the video. Let's do these together. Jason has a bag of 64 marbles. They are red or blue. If the ratio of red to blue is 5 to 3, how many blue marbles are in the bag? There are several ways of answering this. This is my preferred method. If red to blue is 5 to 3, I can write that as 5x and 3x. Even though I don't know how many of each marble, I know that because they're in that ratio, right, there's one multiplier of x that would be the same for both the red and the blue, and altogether that adds up to 64. So here's an equation with only one variable I can solve. I get 8x equals 64, dividing both sides by 8. X equals 8. And now be careful, 8 is not the answer, right? That's just the x value. The red is going to be 5 times 8, red is 40, and the blue is going to be 3 times 8 is 24. Let's make sure that we answer the correct one. Blue. So we're going to say B for our final answer. All right, for the question about Angela, all right, this actually ends up being a triple ratio. I'll show you the way I like to do this one. We have nickels to dimes, and I'm going to label it carefully. Nickels to dimes is 3 to 2, and dimes to quarters is 7 to 5. What is the ratio of nickels to quarters? So the key here, let me change colors, is to see in the first 2 ratios, they both have dimes. So I want to get those 2 numbers to be the same. And when that 2 and the 7, when those are the same, then I can directly compare the nickels and quarters as well. So it's sort of like finding a lowest common denominator, but in this case, it's like a lowest common dime. The lowest common multiple of 7 and 2 is 14. So let's change both of those numbers to 14. And it was 2 times 7 is 14. So I'll also multiply that 3 by 7 and get 21. 7 times 2 is 14. So I'll also multiply 5 times 2. I'll get 10. And now I can see that nickels to quarters is 21 to 10 because it has that common bridge of 14. I can put all 3 of them together. 21 to 10, or D, is my final answer.